So in the last lecture, we have started simplex method. Just not to confuse you, I am just writing firstly the steps which you will take to solve your simplex method. So the first step is that your LPP should be in the standard form. That means convert LPP into its standard form. And that I have already told you that simplex method you apply only if your constraints are of less than equal to type. That means in simplex you are adding slack variable in every constraints, right? If you are not adding slack variable in any constraint, then you cannot apply your simplex method. So when you will add your slack variables, when you make your table for the first, the alpha j's that I have told you, that when you will make your table x1, x2, x3, the variables you have, this is denoting your alpha j. You are writing alpha j as all the entries in the first table. So in the first table, alpha j are as the columns of A. जो भी आपके A के columns matrix के बन रहे होंगे, that will be your alpha j, right? And in the table, your xb will be your right hand side for the first table. And your zj minus cj's entry will be, you will revert the sign of cost coefficient of objective function and then you will write your zj minus cj, right? So what you are doing when you have to perform your simplex iteration, right? You have to see, is your problem is of maximization or is your problem of minimization? आपका table optimal तो होगा. That means when you will all have zj minus cj are greater than equal to 0. When all your zj minus cj are greater than equal to 0, then you will stop. When it is less than 0 or equal to 0, yes, this is for the first iteration. When your zj minus cj will be less than equal to 0 in the case of maximization, then you will choose most negative to enter in the basis. Right? Then you will choose most negative to enter in the basis. The same you will do for the negative, just you will revert. You will stop if your zj minus cj will be less than equal to 0, then you will stop. And if your zj minus cj will be greater than equal to 0 in the case of minimization, you will choose most positive to enter in the basis, right? When you will choose your entering variable in the basis, then one should have to leave the basis. How you will decide your leaving variable? Then decide leaving variable. How you are deciding your leaving variable? You are dividing xb with the entering column. And entering column entry should be greater than 0. अगर आपकी कॉलम की एंट्री कोई लेस देन 0 है या 0 है, then you will not find its minimum ratio. Is it clear? Right? So when you have decided entering and leaving variable, the intersection of entering and leaving variable will be the pivot element. When you will decide your entering variable आप कैसे डिसाइड कर रहे हो? अगर आपका मैक्सिमाइजेशन का केस है, तो मोस्ट नेगेटिव विल एंटर. अगर मिनिमाइजेशन का केस है देन मोस्ट पॉजिटिव विल एंटर. ठीक है. अगर आपका बेसिस में किसी ने एंट्री लेनी है तो किसी ना किसी को लीव करना पड़ेगा. लीव कैसे डिसाइड कर रहे हो? यू आर फाइंडिंग द मिनिमम रेशियो, राइट? दिस इज योर मिनिमम रेशियो. Entering column means when you will decide your entering column means the variable which you are deciding. Minimum ratio is we find this way, right? Entering column means entering variable column, जो भी आपका enter कर रहा है. और entering column की जो भी उसकी column की entry है वो greater than 0 होनी चाहिए, तभी आप minimum ratio निकालोगे. Otherwise you will not find. Once you have decided कि which one variable is entering, which one is leaving, intersection आएगा दोनों का. That intersection you will call, that is your pivot element. Is it clear? Once you have decided your pivot element, then make pivot element as 1 by row operation that divide the same row by the same pivot element. Divide the concerned row with pivot element. Only this operation you can use to convert your element into your 1. Is it clear? Once you have decided your pivot element, you have to make zeros above the pivot element and zeros below the pivot element, right? So make zeros in the column of pivot element. जो भी आपके जीरोस हैं पूरे कॉलम में आप क्या बनाओगे? जीरोस बाय यूजिंग एलिमेंट्री रो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन. By using elementary row transformation. So when you will apply your row operations, I have told you that it should be something rj minus the variable जिससे भी आपको multiply करना है into your new r जो भी आपकी select हुई होती है pivot element के लिए, right? So repeat this process. Repeat the steps 5 to 9 until the optimality is achieved. You have to apply your row transformation to make 0. So this row transformation you apply कि जो भी आपकी pivot element 1 बनी होती है, that is your pivot row. You will multiply that element जिससे भी आपको 0 बनाना है and you will do the subtraction, right? So these are the steps that you have to follow. First iteration remains this, but the formula I have already told you that the formula I'll explain you once again when we will have some iterations की जब आपके missing entries होंगी, right? We are going to do now one example based on this. Suppose the question is minimization z x1 minus 3x2 plus 3x3 subject to you have constraints 3x1 minus x2 plus 2x3 less than equal to 7, 2x1 plus 4x2 greater than equal to minus 12, minus 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 8x3 less than equal to 10, x1, x2, x3 greater than equal to 0. So when we have to transform, when we have to use simplex method in this, so what is the basic step that I have to convert my LPP into standard form? In the standard form, my all variables are greater than equal to 0, right? And only left is that your right hand side should be positive. Right hand side positive कैसे होगी? That you will have 3x1 minus x2 plus 2x3. This is satisfying that this is less than 7. But here it is minus 12. So to make it 12, I will multiply with the negative sign. So my inequality will become 12 minus 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 8x3 less than equal to 10 and x1, x2, x3 all are greater than equal to 0. Is it in my standard form? No, because standard form says my equality, there should be equality in all the constraints. So I'll add slack variable in this and my inequality will change to equal, right? And this will, I will add second slack variable in second constraint and this will be equal. And I will add third slack variable in equal. And I have told you, you can apply only this 3x1 minus x2. So you can apply your simplex method only if slack variable is added in every constraint. Now you can see your slack variable has added in every constraint. So you can start with the simplex iteration. Why I am saying so? Because when we have to perform first iteration, I should have identity matrix corresponding to the basic variables. So here all your S1, S2 and S3 all are greater than equal to 0. When we will start, how I can write my A matrix? My A matrix is nothing but all the columns. The column of x1 is 3, minus 2, minus 4. The column of x2 is minus 1, minus 4 and 3. The column of x3 is 2, 0, 3. And the column of S1 is 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. Is it clear?
208.
208, right? So when we perform the iteration first, when I'll construct my table, what I have told you, we will start here. There will be the column of x1, x2, x3, s1, s2 and s3 because I have these variables only. Here I'll write my xb and then I'll find the minimum ratio, right? And here I will write my zj minus cj. And here I write my basic variables and the cost coefficient. What is the basic step that we take the basic variables? That means the slack variables which we have added. So पहले constraint में मैंने slack variable के add किया S1, S2, S3. S1, S2, S3 जब हम add करते हैं, what we write in the objective function? 0 into S1, 0 into S2, 0 into S3, so that your objective function should not get affected with the slack variables. So cost coefficient S1 का क्या है मेरा 0, S2 का क्या है 0, S3 का क्या है 0. What was the first step? When I have the first step, I write all alpha j as the columns of A. So when I'll write, this will be my 3, minus 2, minus 4, minus 1, minus 4, 3, 2, 0, 8, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 0, 1. And xb क्या होगी? That is the my right hand side. Right hand side मेरी कितनी है? 7, 12 and 10. Now we have to write only zj minus cj. For the first iteration, what is my zj minus cj? Objective function में मेरे जो भी coefficients आए will revert the sign and I'll write, right? So x1 का coefficient क्या है? 1. I will write minus 1. x2 का coefficient क्या है? minus 3. I will write 3. Revert that sign, right? x3 का coefficient क्या है? 3. I will write minus 3. s1, s2, 0. And the objective function आपकी जो आपकी यहाँ पे z value आ रही है, that is nothing but this is the dot product of this with the addition. 0 into 7 plus 0 into 12 plus 0 into 10 will give you answer as 0. So you can notice here this, because I am saying this is my basic feasible solution. आपके 6 वेरिएबल्स थे, 3 वेरिएबल्स की वैल्यू आ रही है, S1 कह रहा है 7, S2 आ रहा है 12, S3 आ रहा है आपका 10, राइट? और बाकी बेसिक वेरिएबल्स क्या हैं? There is a class here, right? So now, yes, please. Now this is what the first table. That here I will write 0 because the dot product of 0 into 7 plus 0 into 12 plus 0 into 10, that is my 0, right? So this is, if you notice, this is the case of minimization, right? Now this is the case of minimization. Can I stop here? I can stop in Zj. I can stop in minimization case if my Zj minus Cj will be less than equal to 0. So you can notice here that all Zj minus Cj are not less than equal to 0. So when it is not less than equal to 0, you have to choose most positive entry to enter in the basis. कौन सी है most positive? That means x2 will enter in the basis. Now when x2 will enter, something has to leave its place. So you will find your minimum ratio, that is nothing but xb divided it by your entering column. And your entering column should be greater than 0. So you will find the minimum ratio 7 divided by minus 1. Can I do? No, because my entering column should be greater than 0. 12 divided by minus 4. Can I do? No, because it should be greater than 0. I have only option that I 10 divided by 3. Now only this is the minimum. That means this is my leaving variable. What is the intersection of entering and leaving? Obviously this entry. So this entry is nothing but this entry is your pivot element, pivot element. So you have to make pivot element as, I will discuss that case, right? When we have, then in that case, when you are saying अगर सारे ही मेरे नेगेटिव हो जाएं कि मैं मिनिमम रेशियो फाइंड ही ना कर सकूं, then LPP will have unbounded solution in that case. That something wants to enter, but nothing is to leave. Then in that case, I will have unbounded solution, right? So this is my pivot element. What is the step? I have to make pivot element as, I have to make pivot element as 1, this element 0, this element 0, and this element as 0. So when you will perform the next iteration, so this is your Zj minus Cj. Now S1 it's on its place, S2 in its place, S3 की जगह क्या आ जाएगा? X2, because that was the entering and S3 was the leaving. S1 का कोफिशिएंट क्या ऑब्जेक्टिव फंक्शन में? 0. S2 का कोफिशिएंट क्या है? X2 का कोफिशिएंट क्या है? -3. Is it clear? Yes or no? So how you are getting? S1 is the coefficient in the objective function, S2 in the coefficient in the objective function, and X3 coefficient of objective function is -3. Now what you have to perform? You have to make this pivot element as 1. कैसे बनाओगे 1? You will divide it by 3. That means you are applying the operation on R3, that R3 should divide by 3. पूरी रो को आपने 3 से डिवाइड करना है. So this element will be -4 by 3, 1, 8 by 3, 0, 0, 1 by 3, and this entry will be 10 by 3. Is this row clear? Now you have to make this element as 0. कैसे 0 बनाओगे? You have to make the help of this one, right? So you have to apply the operation on R2, that your R2 will be R2 minus or 4 plus 4 times your new R3. Is it clear which transformation I am using? R2 पे मुझे ऑपरेशन लगाना है जीरो बनाने के लिए with the help of this one, right? So when I'll multiply with this 4 and I'll add this, it will become 0. You have to apply this operation on the whole R. तो मेरी ये एंट्री बन जाएगी आपकी -22/3. If you have like this -2, -4, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and you have one row is this -4/3, 1, 8/3, 0, 0, 1/3. You have to make this element as 0 with the help of this one. कैसे बनाओगे? You will multiply with this row as 4, and if you will add this, it will become 0. That operation I have written, that R2 plus 4 times your new R3. Is it clear? This you already have done in +2, that you use row transformation. Is it clear? Yes or no? So when you will do this iteration will become -22/3, 0, 32/3, 0, 1, 4/3, and this will become 76/3. Now I have to make this element also as 0. कैसे बनाऊंगी? I have to make this element also as 0. And I have to use this one. So you can use R1 will be your R1 plus new R3, not previous R3. R1 plus new R3. So this entry will become 5/3, 0, 14/3, 1, 0, 1/3, and 31/3. Is it clear? You have to make this element also as 0 with the help of the same one. What operation you will apply? इस 3 को आपने 0 बनाना है with this help 1. क्या करोगे? That you will multiply -3 into your new R3. So this entry will become 3, 0, -11, 0, 0, -1. You are applying the same operation -1, 3, -3, 0, 0, 0. You have to make this element as 0 and with the help of this same row. So you have to multiply it with 3, sorry, minus, and then you will be make as 0. So अगर आप करोगे, this will become entry. यहाँ पे भी आपकी entry change हो जाएगी, that it will become 0 minus. That is -10. Is it clear? Same ही कर लो, चाहे multiply this with this with this, and -3 with 10/3, you will get -10. Otherwise row transformation भी लगाओगे, 0 से subtract करोगे, you will also get same answer. Is it clear? Can I stop here? Not stop here means can I stop the iteration? So yes, I cannot stop the iteration. Why? Because this is my minimization case and all my Zj minus Cj should be less than or equal to 0. Now I cannot stop. It is a minimization case. What will be my entering variable? That will be my most positive. Positive क्या है आपका x1? That means this will enter and who will leave the basis? You will divide 31/3 by 5/3. You will get as 31/5. इसको divide करोगे? No, because this quantity is your negative, so I will not divide this. 10/3 -4/3 डिवाइड करूंगी? नो, बिकॉज दिस इज माई negative entry. So which is my minimum ratio? If you got more than one point entry, you have to choose the minimum, right? If अगर मेरा यहाँ पे होता 37/5, I have to choose the minimum. Okay. You are finding the minimum ratio when you are dividing your XB with the entering column. But entering column पे condition है कि वो greater than 0 होना चाहिए, only then you can divide. So 31, yes, you can divide it by 5/3, but you will not divide this entry because it is negative over here. You will not divide here, it is negative over here. So this is my leading variable. What is the intersection of entering and leaving? Obviously this entry. ये entry, this is your pivot element. This entry you have to make 1. बाकी सारी एंट्रीज क्या बनानी है? लगाओ रो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन and you will get answer. So when you will apply your row transformations, one thing please notice over here, when I am applying the row transformation, I am not applying on this, I am just writing the coefficient which I have. S1 की जगह अब आपका क्या आ जाएगा? X1, S2 की जगह S2 ही रहेगा, X2 की जगह X2. X1 का कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट क्या है ऑब्जेक्टिव फंक्शन में? 1. S2 का 0, X2 का -3. Clear? Now you have to make this entry as 1. What operation you will apply? That you will, either you can say I can multiply it by 3/5 or divide it by 5/3. Both are the same things, right? So this entry will become 1, 0. This will entry become 14/5, 3/5, 0, 1/5, and this entry will become 31/5. And the same, you have to make this element as 0 with the help of this one. What you will do? I will apply the operation on R2. R2 will be R2 plus 22/3 into your new R1. Is it clear? You have to do this task throughout your simplex iteration. Make your pivot element 1 and other element as 0 by the same transformation. That whatever you have make 1, उसकी help से आपको बाकी सारे क्या बनाने हैं? 0. So when you will apply this operation, it will become your 0, 1, 0, 0. This will be 156/5, 22/5, 1, 14/5. This is 354/5. And this entry, when you will do the operation on this, you have to make this element as 0. So you will apply operation on R3, R3 plus 4/3 into your new R1. So this entry will be your 0, 1, 32/5, 4/5, 0, 3/5, 58/5. And I have to make this element also as 0. So I'll apply the operation R0. R0 will be R0 minus 3 times my new R1, right? So that will become your 0. And here it is 0, minus 97/5, minus 9/5, 0, 8, minus 8/5, and it is your minus 143/5. Now, can I stop the iteration at this step? It was my minimization case and all my Zj minus Cj are less than equal to 0, means this is my optimal iteration and I can stop over here. So what is your optimal solution? X1 has values 31/5. x2 has value, that is your 58 by 5. x3 variable है, is it present in the basic matrix? If it is not present, it means its value is 0, because all these are my basic feasible solution. When you will have your basic feasible solution, you have n minus m variables as 0 and other m variables you will have value, right? So if you compare it with your algebraic method, so your x1 is 31 by 5, x2 is 58 by 5, x3 is 0, s1 is 0, s2 is 354 by 5, and s3 is 0. So your n minus m variables are 0 over here, and m variables has value. Clear? And this is my optimal solution. And the optimal value, which is your z, that is nothing but this value, minus 143 by 5. This is your answer. The tasks come for your tips and tricks. Okay. So if you notice, whatever your basic variables are here, corresponding to that, you will always have your identity matrix. यहाँ पे मेरा basic variable क्या है? x1, which is present on the first position. First position के correspondingly देख लो आपकी identity क्या आनी चाहिए? 1 0 0, right? Next variable is your s2, which is on the second level. तो इसके correspondingly देखो 0 1 0 आ रहा है. And your x2, it is on the third level, so it is 0 0 1. So corresponding to your basic variable in the simplex iteration table, there will always be your identity matrix. Is it clear? Yes or no? Is it clear? Next thing you can notice, whatever your basic variables are, corresponding to that, your zj minus cj will always be 0. x1 के correspondingly देखो 0 आ रहा है, x2 के correspondingly 0 आ रहा है, and x2 के corresponding आपका 0 आ रहा है. Is it clear? So if I give you any optimal table, I'll ask कि basic variables की entry क्या होंगी इस table में, then you can just say without any doing calculation that these are my entries. Is it clear? This is for every iteration, whatever method you will apply, when you are performing your simplex iteration, in the table corresponding to your basic variable, there will always be an identity matrix. Corresponding to that basic variable, you will always have zj minus cj as 0. In every table, in every iteration, चाहे आप ऊपर वाली iteration देख लो, आपके बेसिक वेरिएबल s1 थे, कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंगली 0 आ रहा है, s2 था 0 आ रहा है, x2 था तो 0 आ रहा है, s1 प्रेजेंट था तो आइडेंटिटी मैट्रिक्स आ रही है, s2 दिस, and x3 is on the third, x2 is on the third level, so you will have identity matrix. Is it clear? Next question. You have given, consider LPP, maximize z is equal to 4x1 plus x2 plus 3x3 plus 5x4, subject to, you have constraint 4x1 minus 6x2 minus 5x3 plus 4x4 greater than equal to minus 20, 3x1 minus 2x2 plus 4x3 plus x4 less than equal to 11, 8x1 minus 3x2 plus 3x3 plus 2x4 less than equal to 23, and one of the simplex iteration which is given to you, one of the simplex iteration table of LPP is as follows, then find the missing entries. So the table is for the concerned LPP. The table is given to you. So the table here is given to you that this is Zj minus Cj, the column of x1, x2, x3, x4, s1, s2, s3, xb, and this is Zj minus Cj. You have given basic variable as s1, x4, and x2, and you have to find these missing entries. This question is given to you, right? And they have given you that this is one of the iteration of simplex method. CB, S1, this is 0. If it is not given to you, you can write it yourself. X4 coefficient is 5. X2 coefficient is 1. Right? So this is given to you. You have to find the missing entries. Now, you cannot use कि आप पहले टेबल से स्टार्ट करो और यहाँ टेबल तक पहुंचो, एंड इट इज वेरी टाइम कंज्यूमिंग प्रोसेस. द वन थिंग यू मस्ट नोटिस ओवर हियर कि जब भी ये क्वेश्चन सॉल्व हुआ होगा, ये पहले स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हुआ होगा, राइट? सो दैट मीन्स आपकी ये फॉर्म है दैट दिस इज -4x1 प्लस 6x2 प्लस 5x3 minus 4x4, and this constraint will become your less than equal to 20. ठीक है? जब ये कन्वर्ट हुआ होगा तो आपके स्लैक वेरिएबल्स भी ऐड होंगे. सो इट विल बी योर S1, S2 एंड इट इज योर S3. अगर आप सॉल्व करते तो यही सॉल्व करते, यस और नो, तो आपकी ए मैट्रिक्स जो बनती वो क्या बनती? दैट इज द कॉलम ऑफ x1 -4 3 8 6 -2 -3. दिस बिकम्स 5 4 3 -4 1 2 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1. This is corresponding to x1, x2, x3, x4, s1, s2 and s3. यही होता. ए आपकी मैट्रिक्स ये बनती. राइट हैंड साइड आपकी क्या है? 20 11 and 23. दैट इज योर स्मॉल b, राइट? नाउ द थिंग ओवर हियर इट इज दैट यू हैव नॉट गिवन दीज आइट्रेशंस. आपको मिसिंग एंट्रीज ही निकालनी है. Then you have to use your formula. But I have told you what are my these entry. These are my alpha j. I have told you this, right, in the last lecture. And what was the formula of alpha j? Now you have to use that formula. That alpha j was my nothing. That is my b inverse into your aj. Is it clear? Yes or no? So tips and tricks. ये एंट्री आपको पता है, x2 की आपको एंट्री निकालनी है, बट x2 आपका बेसिक वेरिएबल है और कौन से लेवल पे प्रेजेंट है. तो मतलब इसको मैं चाहे सॉल्व करूं चाहे नहीं, इसका आंसर हमेशा ही 0 0 1 आएगा. इज इट क्लियर? आइदर यू सॉल्व इट और यू विल नॉट सॉल्व इट, यू विल गेट आंसर एज 0 0 1. द सिमिलरली x4 is your basic variable. It is present in the second level. Either I calculate or not, it will give me answer as 0 1 0. Is it clear? द सेम थिंग कैन ओवर हेयर, कि अगर मैं ये भी मिसिंग कर देती तो आई नो माई x4 इज बेसिक वेरिएबल, चाहे मैं किसी फॉर्मूला लगा के निकालूं चाहे नहीं, बट x4 is my basic variable, so zj minus cj will be my 0. Is it clear? Yes or no? Fine. So now the rest you have to do the calculation. Now what was my B matrix? B matrix मैंने क्या बनाई थी? That is the coefficients of basic variable in the constraints. मैंने यही लिखवाया था आपको लास्ट क्लास में कि B आपकी मैट्रिक्स बनती थी जो आपके कोफिशिएंट होते थे बेसिक वेरिएबल. अब बेसिक वेरिएबल मेरे कौन से हैं? What are my basic variables? S1, X4 and X2. So what will be my B? S1 का कोफिशिएंट क्या है? 1 0 0. X4 के क्या है? कॉलम लिख लो A में से, दैट मीन्स A के कॉलम, X4 का कॉलम -4 1 2. X2 का कॉलम A में से आप क्या लिखोगे? दैट इज योर 6 -2 -3. यू गॉट माई पॉइंट? यहाँ पे ये आइडेंटिटी नहीं होगा क्योंकि सिंप्लेक्स आइट्रेशन में आइडेंटिटी होगा, बट व्हाट इज माय बी? द कोफिशिएंट ऑफ बेसिक वेरिएबल इन द कंस्ट्रेंट्स. सो यू हैव टू राइट द कॉलम्स, जो भी आपके बेसिक वेरिएबल के कॉलम्स होंगे ए वाली मैट्रिक्स में, राइट? कैन यू कैलकुलेट बी इनवर्स? निकाल लोगे? यू हैव कैलकुलेटर अलाउड इन एग्जाम. You input your B matrix, you can calculate B inverse very easily, right? So the B inverse is coming out to be your 1 0 2 0 0 -3 -2 2 2 1. So this is coming out to be your B inverse. Is it clear? How I have formed B matrix, how I am calculating the inverse. Clear है ये? Right? What is my alpha J means? पहली entry alpha 1 B इनवर्स इंटू A1. इसका मतलब B का इनवर्स मुझे किससे मल्टीप्लाई करना है? A के फर्स्ट कॉलम से. व्हाट इज माय फर्स्ट कॉलम ऑफ A? -4 3 एंड 8. कर लोगे मल्टीप्लाई? सो आंसर इज कमिंग आउट टू बी योर 12 7 2. So that means this entry is my 12, this entry is my 7 and this entry is my 2. Is it clear? ठीक है. चाहे अल्फा 2 आपने टिप्स एंड ट्रिक्स से निकाल लिया, बट इफ यू विल अप्लाई द सेम मेथड कि आप B इनवर्स को A2 से मल्टीप्लाई करो, यू विल गेट आंसर एज 0 0 1. You can even try it yourself, right? But I have told you that this is my basic variable, so its corresponding element will be this is 0 0 1. You can calculate, it will come like this. ठीक है. Next, this is your alpha 3. Alpha 3 will be my B inverse into A3. That means I will multiply B and your A3, that is the third column, that is your 5 4 3 -5 4 3. When you will multiply, sorry 5, when you will convert it. So when you will multiply, it will give you answer as 11 -6 and -5. That means this entry will come my 11 -6 and -5. Clear how I am evaluating the entry? Here one entry is missing, but for the one entry also you have to calculate your alpha J. So this is my last column, which is my alpha 7. So that will be my B inverse into A7. So it will be your B inverse and A7 is your 0 0 1. So when you will calculate, it will give you answer as 2 2 1. So you can notice here, जो भी आपका आंसर आ रहा है ये 2 2 तो ऑलरेडी आपको गिवन ही था. Here entry will come 1. Is it clear? Next, the entries of this thing. इसका मैंने आपको फॉर्मूला लिखवाया था that my xb is nothing but b inverse into b, right? B inverse you have calculated, and b small b means the right hand side. Right hand side is 20, 11 and 23. So when you will multiply, it will give you answer as 66, 13 and 1. So it is giving me answer as 66, 13 and 1. Is it clear? Next, the entry come for your zj minus cj. Here also I told you the formula that I am calculating zj minus cj with the formula cb into alpha j minus cj, means cost कोफिशिएंट बेसिक वेरिएबल्स के. अब कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट बेसिक वेरिएबल के क्या है? पहला कौन सा बेसिक वेरिएबल S1, उसका कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट क्या है? 0. X4 का कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट क्या है? 5. X4 का कॉस्ट एंड कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट ऑफ X2 इज 1. जिस भी एंट्री के लिए निकालना है अल्फा जे यू विल मल्टीप्लाई. अब आपको लास्ट वाली एंट्री के लिए निकालना है, ठीक है? दैट विल बी माई Z7 minus C7. So I'll multiply alpha 7, that is my 2 to 1, minus the corresponding cost coefficient of that variable. Z7 minus C7 निकालना है ना, तो लास्ट वाले मतलब S3 का निकालना है, ठीक है? S3 का कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट क्या है ऑब्जेक्टिव फंक्शन में? 0. So when you will calculate, it is coming out to be your 11. So this entry is my 11. Is it clear? Right? What was this entry? This entry I have told you the product of this thing and this thing plus this and this plus this and this. That means this is nothing but your Z solution is nothing, that is CB into your XB. Cost coefficient क्या है? 0, 5. क्या है? 0, 5, 1. XB आपका कितना है? 60, 13, 1. So when you will multiply and do, and it will give you answer as 66. Is it clear? Yes or no? Now one more tips and tricks. When you will multiply, this will be your 5 into 13, that will be 65 plus 1 into 1, that will be your 66. ठीक है? ये वाला 66 नहीं लिख दिया. I have just multiplied the matrices. Right? Now, the question comes for your tips and tricks. Right? So whatever values will be given to you, कोई भी आपको आइट्रेशन टेबल अगर गिवन है, आपको पता है आपके इनिशियली बेसिक वेरिएबल्स कौन से थे? S1, S2, S3. अगर मैंने शुरू से स्टार्ट किया होता, तो अगर कोई भी टेबल है आपको गिवन है, तो S1, S2, S3 के नीचे कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंगली अगर वो आपका ऑप्टिमल टेबल है, तो हमेशा वो इनवर्स बना रहा होगा. यू कैन नोटिस कि बी इनवर्स आपका यही आ रहा है, ठीक है? So whatever, you will always solve your slack variables in the last optimal table, the table which will be given to you, that will be your B inverse जो आपकी S1, S2, S3 के नीचे आ रही होगी. Here I have not taken it as B inverse. क्यों? क्योंकि मुझे ये एंट्री ही मिसिंग थी. जब तक मैं अपनी ये एंट्री नहीं निकालती, I cannot say what will be my B inverse. That you can match, यही आपका B inverse आ रहा है. Is it clear? ये आई कैसे? आप पढ़ते थे ना +2 में, आप AI इज इक्वल टू आई ए करते थे. व्हेन यू फाइंड द इनवर्स, आप एक बार ये आइडेंटिटी पे ऑपरेशंस लगाते थे और ए पे यू मेक दैट एज आइडेंटिटी मैट्रिक्स. तो जो आपकी आइडेंटिटी मैट्रिक्स होती थी वो क्या बन जाती थी? इनवर्स. दैट व्हाट यू हैव डन. पहले वो आइडेंटिटी थी, आपने ऑपरेशंस लगाए, जो आपकी लास्ट में मैट्रिक्स आएगी दैट विल बी योर इनवर्स ऑफ the basic variables. Is it clear? Any doubt? So if any question next given to you, as the question is maximize Z, 2x1 plus 5x2 subject to you have constraint x1 plus 4x2 less than equal to 24, 3x1 plus x2 less than equal to 21, x1 plus x2 less than equal to 9, and x1 and x2 are greater than equal to 0. Solve the given LPP by simplex method by taking x2, s2 and x1 as basic variable, where s2 is the second slack variable in second constraint. So now you have to solve the LPP, right? That you have to convert it into its standard form. So that will become nothing but maximize z. This will be 2x1 plus 5x2. Subject to I have constraints x1 plus 4x2 plus x1 equal to 24. 3x1 plus x2 plus s2 equal to 21. x1 plus x2 plus s3 is equal to 9. x1, x2, x3, s1, s2, s3 greater than equal to 0, and it will become 0 into s1, 0 into s2 and 0 into s3. Now you have to solve this by simplex method. But what is addition given to you? That initially you have to take this as basic variable. So if I have given you basic variable कि आपको इससे ही start करना है, you cannot start with the first iteration, right? कि आप s1, s2, s3 basic variable लेके चलो. So when you will have to do like this, you have to use it by the formulas. So when you will write its A matrix, what will be my A matrix? That is the coefficient of x1, x2, s1, s2 and s3. So this is my 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, right? So this is my matrix. Here I'll write my x1, x2, s1, s2, s3. This is my xb and this is my zj minus cj. The one thing which is given to me, I have to take the variables as x2, s2 and x1. Is it clear? You have given this. Now because इसका x2 का coefficient क्या है? This is 5. s2 का 0, x1 का कितना है? 2. Fine, right? Now if you have to construct this table, you have to use that formulas. सबसे पहले आपको B matrix निकालनी पड़ेगी. That is the columns of x2, s2 and x1. So what is the column of x2? That is your 4, 1, 1. s2 का column, that is your 0, 1, 0. x1 का column, that is your 1, 3, 1. Is it clear? Yes or no? I have just written B as the columns of your basic variable. Fine. What is my alpha j? Now, one thing is clear. Because these are variables, so I will have here 1, 0, 0 corresponding to s2, 0, 1, 0. x1 I will have 0, 0, 1. This is sure. Now my zj minus cj obviously for x1 will be 0, x2 will be 0 and s2 will be 0. These are sure my entries it will be. द रेस्ट यू कैन कैलकुलेट. अल्फा जे आपका क्या है? दैट इज योर बी इनवर्स इंटू योर ए जे. सो व्हेन यू विल कैलकुलेट योर अल्फा टू विल बी इनवर्स ऑफ बी, दैट इज कमिंग आउट टू बी योर 1/3, 2/3 minus 1/3, and if you calculate 0, 1, 0, it is coming out to be minus 1/3, minus 11/3, and 4/3. And because I am calculating alpha 2, so I have to write A2. That is my A2 भी calculate करने की जरूरत नहीं है. You will calculate your A3, क्योंकि A2 आपने already बता दिया, because it is your basic variable. Calculate करोगे तो भी आपका 100 ही आएगा. Alpha 3 means third entry 100. So this entry is coming out to be my 1/3. If you will solve 2/3 minus 1/3, ये निकालना है आपने अल्फा 5, that will be my B inverse into my A5. When you will multiply B inverse and A5 is this entry 0, 0, 1. So the multiplication coming out to be minus 1/3, minus 11/3, 4/3, and your XB is nothing but that will be B inverse into B. That means B inverse की मैट्रिक्स B आपकी राइट हैंड साइड है, that is your 24, 21 and 9. When you will multiply, this will give me answer as 544. So here entries will be my 5444. Next you calculate your Zj minus Cj. Zj minus Cj का वही फॉर्मूला Cb इंटू अल्फा j माइनस Cj. कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट x2 का कितना है 5, कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट x2 का कितना है 0, कॉस्ट कोफिशिएंट x1 का कितना है 2. अल्फा j अगर मुझे ये निकालना है Z3 minus C3, so third is my 100 minus the cost coefficient 0, so it is giving me answer as 502. that you have Z3 100, कितना आंसर आ रहा है 5. वन जीरो जीरो ही है ना, सॉरी. अल्फा j is my 1/3 that I have calculated 2/3 and minus 1/3. So if you will calculate, this answer is coming out to be 1. S3 के लिए निकालना है Z5 minus C5. अगर ये नहीं भी याद रहते इनके कॉलम्स लिख लिया करो. S3 के लिए सॉल्व कर रहे हो. This will be 502 and S3 that is my minus 1/3, minus 11/3 and 4/5. And if you will do, this is also coming out to be your 1. And this entry you can multiply this. CB को आप किससे मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हो? XB से. And the value of Z here is CB into your XB, which is coming out to be your 33. अगर ये आपको क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करने के लिए कहा गया है, दिस इज द केस ऑफ मैक्सिमाइजेशन. क्या आपके सारे ZJ माइनस CJ ग्रेटर देन 0 हैं? इसका मतलब यही मेरा ऑप्टिमल टेबल है. आई नीड नॉट टू परफॉर्म एनी आइट्रेशन. दिस इज माई ऑप्टिमल टेबल because all my Zj minus Cj are greater than equal to 0. Therefore, the optimal solution is that x1 is my 4 and x2 is my 5 and the optimal value is 33. So this is my optimal solution. Is it clear? Yes or no? Fine. This covers your simplex also. It can come a question कि मैं आपको LPP गिवन ही ना दूं, सिर्फ टेबल दे दूं और ये कहूं कि आपको LPP फॉर्म करनी है. यूज दिस फॉर्मूला, यू कैन फॉर्म दैट LPP. अगर मैंने आपको ये वाला टेबल दे दिया, यू नो दिस इज योर अल्फा j एंट्री. आप यही कह रहे हो ना, अल्फा j एंट्री इज नथिंग बट B इनवर्स AJ. अल्फा j आपको गिवन है, क्या गिवन है 0, 0, 1. बी इनवर्स आपने निकाल ही लिया. दिस इज योर बी इनवर्स जो आपका लास्ट में आएगा कॉरेस्पॉन्डिंग. ए जे आप यहां से निकाल लोगे. So that means that will be the first entry of your A matrix. The same you can calculate for second, third. Right hand side भी आप फॉर्मूला लगा रहे हो कि आपका एक्स बी क्या है, दैट इज योर बी इनवर्स इंटू बी. एक्स बी अगर आपको गिवन है, बी इनवर्स you know this is, you can find your right hand side as well, right? And constraint obviously it is less than equal to type. From the formula zj minus cj you can find your cost coefficient of basic variable. Is it clear? So if I give the optimal table, I say find the given LPP, you can construct that LPP with these formulas, right? Okay, thank you.